Hello guys, today I'm gonna be showing you how to find secret registry keys through using IDA. Um, First off, you should have the IDA downloaded. And then what you want to do is you want to open up IDA. I'm going to be showing a few examples here. And then let's say that I want to look at hid.dll. Um, Wait, let me actually just go in here, Windows. Yeah, I'm sorry, this is all gonna be in one go. System 32, and then we have. I just want to delete this so that you guys can get it from the start. So if I then go in here and I find hid.dll, I'm gonna get asked this, and then I'm just gonna let it all be default. I'm not gonna touch this. I'm just gonna press OK. And yes, we do want to load the PDB from Microsoft Symbols, which is the public database, which means that your functions are not going to be having names like sub underscore blah 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 blah, but you see they actually have these very nice readable names. So if we now right click here and press on text view, we can see this stuff. Do not worry, this looks very scary. This is the start part of this function, or of this file. But I don't think we want to look at that right now. What I want to look for whenever we want to look for registry keys, if any registry keys get read at any time, I would go into imports, and then we can see anti-query information file, and then we see something like, oh, rec query value xw. That looks very relevant to us. If we then open up and we search for this MSDN, so we see that it reads a key, uh, it gets a key somewhere, and then it gets a value name, and then it stores it for out. It stores it in this data part. So if we double click on this now, we will get over to where it is imported in the data. And then if we press if we then right click on it and press on this, or you can open up and press X, then you will see this right here. And this right here is where this function gets used anywhere else in the whole of this program. And this is what we want to see. We want to see that we get some registry value somewhere, because that means that it's getting read. And then we want to see what is getting read. We can do that by, if I then double click on this, it brings me over here. And if you then do F5 on your keyboard, then you're gonna get it in a decompiled view, where this is going to show you what is it called? Uh, Decompiled pseudocode, which means this is not completely accurate, but this is very close to what the source code would look like. I just do this out of pure habit. You don't need to do that. Um, so what we see here is that first we use first we do this stuff. Do not worry about this stuff really. I'm not going to tell you whether this file actually gets read or not, or if this does get read. I'm just going to show you how to read registry keys and how they are found. So if we now have this right here, open this, and then we see like, okay, this opens a key somewhere and a sub key somewhere. Okay, so we go into HK local machine or HKLM, and then after that we go into the sub key. All right, so so that looks fine. Then afterwards that we go in and we now we get to the rec query value xw function, and then we look at the result we get from here, that is stored there, and then we go in and we read this value name. It's probably default 0, and then the data type, which it is, and then it gets stored in here, and then we can see if this registry value is then 1. So I'm very sorry about this. This is going to be terrible. I'm just going to. Some of you guys might already know this, but this is very good if you have no idea about any programming. Let's say we have a value a, or this is a variable. Variable. We call it a, and a has the value 6, and then we have b, which has the value. No, okay. So we say that a is equal to 6, so the variable a has the value 6, and then we can do this operand on it. If we say a is equal, this means is this the same as, and then I could say 7. These are not the same, so this will give an output of 0, because these are not the same. But if we then say instead, oh, it would have been great if that was larger. That's what she said. But if we then say a double equals 6, then you would get an output of 1. So that means if this value is 1, then we go to label 9. That means we skip over all of this and we go over here and we have some overlap result. I'm not going to go into what this does, but we can pretty much see that this is a bit different down here in the end. And then at the end, we jump over here. And then we can also, if we now press X on our keyboard, which was to see all the references to this, then we can also see it right here. This is pretty much the same. Nothing else really gets read here in this file, hid.dll. So let's try with another one now, because now we just saw how it would look like with a rec query value xw. Since there is a lot of other functions as well that gets used. So let me minimize this. So if we say that I then go into drivers here and I go in and I want to, I'm just going, you now already know how to open it. It's just so that it's already decompiled and analyzed for me. There's no you don't see any numbers moving down here, and it will say that it has already been analyzed. So let's try to look for the same here. Why is my imports not here? Let me just open here and we do imp and my imports right there. Oh my mouse was hovering over it. So here we can see we have a lot more showing this time, but that does not mean it has to be scary. So we could look for something like, if you do Control F, you can search for rec, and RTL query registry values. Let us then try to search this up on the internet. Allows the caller to query several values from the registry subtree within a single call. So that means that we can call multiple at once, and it then takes relative to one of these. So we would know that it would have to be in one of these places. Can be modified a bit. We don't have to look at that right now. But then let's see this. If I press X or if I do jump to xref to operand, and then we find this function where this gets called, and then I press F5 on my keyboard to decompile it, then we see we have something that looks like this. So this probably means that we're going to be reading, since we just read that this routine allows us to query several registry values at once, then we're probably going to be reading group override, device policy, device priority, group policy. Um, I do not know what that is right there, but um, uh, I don't know exactly what that is, but let us try to then look at some, or is there not any, if I then do Control F in here, and uh, so we also have, in this one, we have this function called OS get registry value, which uses this one, which is called setw query value key, which is another one, which is used to read the value of a registry key. Keep in mind that this is basically the goal that we want to see, is that it gets read somehow, this value. So we could then go to always read registry value and then press F5, and then we don't really get a lot of leads here, besides that we see that we use the function called OS open handle, registry machine system, this part, and we can see that this uses OS open Unicode handle, which uses ZW open key. I do not know what this function is actually. To open an existing registry key. So if we now backtrace to this takes the value source string. I'm sorry, I'm just going through this a bit faster now, and we see that we go into this part, right? So if we then now we can press on this, and then we can press X, and then we can see, okay, where does this function actually get used? So we see here that we use the OS open handle into the parameters temperature telemetry interval. I guess this is how often some ACPI um, uh, temperature gets read. I don't know. I haven't looked at this before. We could press X again. ACPI init read registry key. Um, Central processor 0. We see we open the handle and then we probably read these values. I do not know what these mean. Um, Dev async start. Then let's look at other ones. MLI, watchdog timeout, action. All right, let's go on a bit here. So we see now we saw we had this, right? Always read registry value, always get registry value. So how does this work? Or this ZW query value key, which we saw before. So let's see, where does this get used? We have hierarchy distribution, which is located in here. Enforce PCI config, whatever that does. Um, yep. And then, oh, what was it? I mean, so I can just show you, because What did I want to show? So I wanted to show this because if I then open a regedit right here and I just go in here to current control set, if we then search for affinity policy and we control F it right here, we can see that we have affinity policy, which is I think that this, well, it it should be under interrupt. Yeah, okay, yeah, we see that it is under interrupt management right here, which we also see here, and then we have affinity policy, and then we can control it with these four registry keys: group override, group device policy, device priority, group policy. Um, yeah. Uh, so, but then if we go back to uh, W query value key right here. So if we then go to, no, let me not look at that. There's also some other weird function here. I have not seen that. Reserved resources, into this system control arbiters, allocation order. Like, guys, this is things I just haven't looked at before. So you can see that there's a reserved resources config range. Well, okay, yeah. So what I wanted to show was this one as an example. So here we go in and we use IO open registry key, and then we load this string in, and we check for if D3 code supported is there. I'm just gonna show you. This does not necessarily mean that everything in here will get read like that. So then we see, okay, we have one here that is matching to that key, but there might be more. Here we see we have D3 code supported. Uh, and that is one that's a power saving feature. You would maybe want to disable that. And under here you also have interrupt management and affinity policy, as we saw before, which we also can control. Um, so yeah, there's a lot of things to be. There are more functions like this. And you also saw that it was not only through these query value key, but this all they also define their own functions to read these with to read these with uh, IIQ default device policy, device exclusion mask. Um, we can see we also have these. Uh, I do not know what these do either. Like, I don't know that much. Um, ACPI bias. We see in there. You see, like, and now I can just press X because I know what does what. Um, yeah, that's pretty much it. I might make another video on showing you how to read values and stuff. But this should be fine for you guys now. This got a little longer than I wanted it initially to be, but I wanted it to be pretty beginner friendly, and you can ask any questions in the server if you want to. Um, yeah,